Okay, we're on page 2 of your handout now, and we're on the section to do with an example. So this is hypothetical. Students in Mrs. Dunford's computer class conduct an experiment to determine if marks scored in a test are related to the number of hours of online games playing. This data was collected for 10 students. So you'll notice we have our students, okay, in order, and then we have their mark and the hours of online games played. So you have to determine then at this point which is going to be your independent and which is going to be your dependent. So we have done this before, so we have some time, and time is usually independent, and it is in this case. And we're going to have dependent. So the mark is dependent on the number of hours played. This is just saying that this is your first data point, your second data point, your third data point, your fourth data point. And we will not graph this. Okay, it's just talking about the number of graphs. So your instruction here, create a scatter plot for this data and use the steps that we learned in last class, and I'm just basically giving them to you again. One nice thing to do is you can reorder the table. So if you'd prefer that and put these hours in order, then you can move left to right on your graph, which is kind of nice if you have trouble graphing just, all over the place, because you have to keep looking up your X value and your Y value. And what you need to do is determine whether the data shows a trend. So in your notes, I've included the graph paper. So what you're going to need to do is fill out what you need for that right now. Stop this video because I keep going on and I will give it all away. So I want you to try doing it yourself first. Then I will be doing the same thing. So stop the video. Okay, so I have now plotted, I've got my title, which is my dependent versus my independent. So in this case, my mark is a percentage versus the hours of online playing. And then I have my Y value, mark as a percentage, my dependent. And I have my independent, hours of online playing per student. And I plotted all the points, and you'll see that there's a trend. They are scattered, but there is a trend of values, and you can see that as your hours of playing, your marks are going down. Okay, so that's the first obvious connection that you can see. Okay, so how would you describe it? And so that's something that you're going to have to figure out. What would you say for that? Well, you can say that it is negative because your slope is sitting here. You can say that it looks like it's probably going to be a strong correlation because they're pretty close together, these points. And you can say that there is a correlation.